crop circles. Ah, hello.
Seriously?
You said he was funny. You never said he was hot.
Mel's.
Oh, what are
Mel's?
you doing here?
Following you? What do you think?
Is that the phone box? The bigger
Okay,
on
so
the
she knows all
inside
about.
phone box. Oh, time travel. That's just brilliant.
I've heard a lot about you.
Ah.
I'm their best mate.
Then why don't I know you?
You've got a time machine. I've got a gun. What the hell? Let's kill Hitler.
So they're going there, eh? Sooner or later. Yeah. I should remind you folks, I do have the subtitles on for this one. It's a bit too hit and miss. The sound design and the audio, the dialogue, kind of gets jumbled up sometimes. Hey! Ah!
Is he hot? No, he's funny. I thought we were playing hide and seek. I've been hiding.
Oh no, is that Rory?
Well, we just haven't found you yet. Hi, Mel. Hi, Rory.
Now I was gonna say Mel sounds kind of like Melody.
I'd love to. He's gorgeous. He's my favorite guy. He's
Friend zone.
gay.
Friend. I'm not gay.
Yes, you are.
No.
I've seen you practically every day. Name one girl.
'Cause there's
who
only
you
one
the
that he cared
slightest
about.
Bit of attention to. Oh my God, Rory!
And the
The penny drops, yeah.
Catch you later.
Yeah, I was gonna say, she seems to love that idea as well, that story. Okay, costume design. Of course, you've got to have your alien presence. Yeah, he's about to take your shape. Replace you. Come on.
What are you?
I'm you.
No, it's fine.
Roy the nurse, of course.
Oh, hello. Sorry, is this your office? Had a sort of collision with my vehicle. Faults on both sides. Let's
Oh,
say
they
no
showed
more
him.
about it.
Yeah.
Whoever you are, I think you have just saved my life.
English accent though.
Believe me, it was an
Yeah.
accident.
Interesting approach. And he placed the gun in the fruit bowl. Oh, yes, Rory.
Hitler.
What about him?
Oh.
Blue box.
The symbol though.
Got a match. We're trying to bag war criminals. We've got the biggest one ever right under our noses. It's her.
How bad is it, Rory? What can we do?
Just keep her conscious. Stay with the smells.
I was gonna marry you.
Good idea. Let's get married. You stay alive and I'll marry you. Deal? Deal?
Shouldn't you ask my parents' permission?
As soon as you're well, I'll get them on the phone.
Might as well do it now.
Oh my god.
Since they're both right here.
That's why it's Mel's.
Penny in the air.
Yeah. Penny's about to drop. So before she becomes River Song, there's another form?
Penny drops.
And she was her childhood friend?
What the hell's going on?
Short for...
Melody.
Yeah, I named my daughter after her.
Oh.
You named your daughter after your daughter.
Took me years to find you two.
So does that mean I'm about to see River Song for the first time? Unless she turns into someone else before River Song. It is.
Ooh, it's all going on down there, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I'm all sort of mature.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
It's Riversong.
Who's River Song?
This is insane.
Spoilers.
Spoilers?
This isn't the River Song we know
Right.
yet. This is her right at the start.
Right.
Doesn't even know her name.
Oh, that's magnificent! I'm gonna wear lots of jumpers.
Well, it's her, all right. Melody Pond. The woman who...
Ah, there it is.
Well, now,
There it
enough of all
is.
Down to business.
Doctor, what's she doing?
What's she programmed to?
Yeah, where did she get the gun?
Hello.
Programmed to kill the doctor, right?
Of course I noticed.
And he placed the other gun in the fruit bowl.
I know you know.
Right? Oh.
Only Riversong gets to call me that.
And who's Riversong?
An old friend of mine.
Stupid name. Mum, Dad, don't follow me, and yes, that is a warning.
So she kind of gave up on the...
No warning for me, then.
No need, my love. The deed is done. And so...
Oh, the kiss. Right, she has that.
What are you doing here?
Well, I was on my way to this gay gypsy bar mitzvah for the disabled when I suddenly thought, gosh, the third item is rubbish. I think I'll kill the Führer. Tip for you all. Never shoot a girl while she's...
regeneration energy. Oh my goodness.
Let me explain everything from the beginning.
Oh, he's on their side.
Heil!
Oh. Never mind. I thought he's like an insider, maybe. Another one of those. Oh, it is!
Oh, no, 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 no. Give me someone I like.
Oh.
Oh. Thanks. Give me guilt. Also guilt.
Yeah. Also guilt.
More guilt. How am I doing?
Your system has been contaminated by the poison of the Judas
Judas tree.
You will be dead in 32 minutes.
I'm trapped inside a giant robot replica of my wife. I'm really trying not to see this as a metaphor.
You killed the doctor on the orders of the movement known as the Silence, an Academy of the Question.
Academy.
You accept and know this to be true.
Sorry. Did you say she killed the doctor?
Oh.
The doctor? Doctor Who.
Doctor Who. Yep.
Oh, you should always waste time when you don't have it. Time is not the boss of you. Rule 408.
Throughout history, many criminals have gone unpunished in their lifetimes. Time travel has responsibilities.
What is the Silence? Why is it called that? What
Let's
does
get
it
that
mean?
exposition.
The Silence is not a species. It is a religious order or movement.
Oh.
Their core belief is that silence will fall when the question is asked.
What question?
The first question. The oldest question in the universe, hidden in plain sight.
Yes, but what is the question?
Unknown.
Don't run. I know you're scared, but never run when you're scared.
Wow, look at this shot.
Who is this River? She's got to be a woman. Am I right?
Wow. Wow.
Save Amy and Rory. Help me. Help me.
Wow. That was something to see the doctor like that.
Doctor? Doctor, you did it. You did it.
Not the doctor.
I seem to be able to fly her. She showed me.
Oh, you were busy.
She taught me. The doctor says I'm the child of the TARDIS. What does he mean?
Where is he?
The name? His real name? Something else?
Well, I'm sure she knows. What's happening?
Regeneration energy.
What are you doing?
Oh. Oh.
Just tell me, is he worth it?
Oh, yes, he is.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, my. Wow.
Hello, sweet.
Oh. Wow. The first hello, sweetie.
Apparently, you used all your remaining regenerations in one go.
Oh.
You shouldn't have done that.
Wow.
She will be amazing.
Oh. Brand new.
We have too much foreknowledge.
Yeah.
Dangerous thing, foreknowledge.
Yeah.
Whose murder?
Ooh.
So then, tell me, why do you want to study archaeology?
Well, to be perfectly honest, Professor, I'm looking for a good man.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, so let's get into it. First of all, that ending, that final scene, I loved it. I loved that moment. I'll get into the rest of it. Of course, I'll get into it, but let's kind of focus on the final moments of this episode. That setup at the end there. I'm looking for a good man. And of course, archaeologist River Song. And the first time I meet River Song, she introduces herself as an archaeologist as well, right? So, this is like the beginning stages of that. Now, on that front, looking for a good man, right? And then, kind of going back to Father Octavian, saying that she killed a good man. Now, first of all, this episode straight up finally confirms that indeed she is the one who kills the doctor, right? As I kind of surmised some time ago as well, right? I feel like that's not, some big, like, thing. I feel like that was kind of there for the audience to pick up on. I felt like there's more than enough there for us, the audience, to pick up on that. But now there's official confirmation, right? That's always a good thing after, after it's kind of been around for some time now. So yeah, there's that. But this whole thing about the good man, I noticed right at the end there, right? Of course, the doctor kind of smiles and laughs it off and changes the topic, right? And this is as Amy brings up, who did she murder, right? Notice how the doctor kind of, his eyes kind of shift to Rory, right? Shifts to Rory, he does one of these, kind of turns, and then just smiles. And this is right after she asked the question. So I don't know, I feel like that was quite noticeable. Could be a misdirect, though you could also kind of argue that maybe the whole title of the episode is a bit of a misdirect. Perhaps maybe a bit misleading even, right? For some it could be. I'll get into the connotations of the title and how it kind of almost doubles as another meaning as well, right? If you look at it from, say, the eye patch lady and some of her motives that are established in the last episode and the silence and all of that, this genocidal maniac could also be alluding to the doctor as well, right? For them, from their perspective, from this, trained assassin's perspective, and I'm speaking of River Song or Melody Pond, though of course the actual Hitler is present as well, right? And I've got to say, I love that I get to see Rory kind of just punch a few Nazis, right? Rory beating up Nazis is just, yeah, how could you not love that, right? He's got a solid right hook. Hitler catches one and a few other Nazis, or that one Nazi, though of course he wasn't really a Nazi. He was a robot, essentially, right? The justice people. And I love how two different time-traveling parties kind of showed up for the same reason, to kind of kill Hitler, or, bring justice to Hitler, or show Hitler hell. But it was really quite interesting to see the doctor's reaction to their MO, right? He kind of just laughs out at it. Time travel has responsibilities. And his reaction, he kind of laughs at that. Or not laughs at that. He found it amusing, right? Someone saying that to him. It was kind of amusing to him. Now, this episode, yeah, I've got to say, it certainly has some great moments. Some fantastic moments. But there's also a section of this that I can criticize. That I can criticize for sure. I can't say that I completely just, enjoyed that episode. There's certainly a few things that are, Now then, let's tackle some of these things, right? Mel's, the childhood friend. Turns out it was Melody Pond all along. And and within the same episode, there's another twist that she kind of regenerates and reveals herself to be their daughter all along. And even though they lost their baby, right, they still end up kind of growing alongside their child, right? Even though they don't know it, they know about it now. I don't know, man. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like a lot of my discussion points from the last episode kind of get tossed out, right? Some of the things that I was expecting, right? Some of the aftermath of Amy and Rory losing their baby, right? Yeah, this is not the direction I had in mind. So in that sense, it doesn't really feel like the most satisfying conclusion to that story arc, them losing their baby. And, the big twist essentially being that, she was there all along, right? She grew up right beside them. But, the thing is, this childhood friend is just introduced in this episode, right? You're given a quick, flashback. Though I certainly really appreciated that scene in her room. They're just hanging out. Rory has to go. In that sense, you see that Melody is even playing matchmaker, right? It's because of her that that Amy is kind of faced with that idea that it's Rory, because up until that point, it wasn't even in her headspace. She believed he was gay. So yeah, you see that she kind of gives them that push. And the whole concept of Mel's being almost suspiciously inquisitive about the doctor and essentially being as infatuated with the doctor as young Amy Pond. And as they grow up, the infatuation kind of remains and continues. It all makes sense, right? Once the big twist happens and the audience finds out indeed that is the individual that goes on to become River Song, right? So, see, here it might be a bit of overthinking on my end, but I'm kind of thinking about things like who raised Mel's at that age. I mean, she needs to have some sort of adult looking after her, right? Growing up. I mean, ultimately, it's not really that important, is it? Who raised Mel's? But it's just one of those things that's coming to mind. So let's go back to episode 2, The Day of the Moon, the conclusion. The jaw-dropping conclusion. The individual who I believe to be their daughter regenerates. So it wasn't really a direct regeneration into River Song, because I see that here. I see River Song for the first time, essentially, right? Right in the origin of River Song, before she even knows she's River Song, though of course by the end of this episode, she is River Song, right? She is River Song. But yeah, she regenerates, and then she goes on to find Amy and Rory, right? As children, and then they grow up together, right? They spend all that time together. Yeah, listen, I don't know, folks. I'm just kind of repeating myself again, but yeah, it's not how I thought they're going to handle Amy and Rory losing their baby, right? Unless, it continues, right? Yeah, there's still plenty of episodes, I could still see Amy and Rory kind of going through that phase, right, of losing their baby and not having the chance to raise that baby. But also this whole concept of Mel's being introduced in this episode, you have to start thinking about Amy or Amelia Pond and her childhood and the different versions of it, essentially, right? She's lived a few different childhoods at this point, right? There's the one from the 11th hour, Amelia Pond, right? At that point, a lot of things have been erased, like her parents, right? So there's that childhood. Then there's this one, the one that she grows up with Mel's, right? And Rory, right? They're besties. All of them are besties. And of course, this kind of goes back to the finale of Series 5, right? The Big Bang. And also, the title, The Big Bang, right? Who's conceived on that day? By the end of that day, essentially, Melanie Pond, right? River Song. So that's quite clever, isn't it? Quite cheeky, right? The title, The Big Bang. Yeah, it's quite the Big Bang, isn't it? But yeah, so, of course, the whole reset and then Amy kind of remembering everything she forgot, right, including her parents. But I suppose that is also around the time Nels should be back in her childhood, or not in her childhood, in her memories again, right? Though of course, you know, they explain the reasoning behind her not being there on the big day. Though of course on that same day you also see River Song. Also, didn't Amy also get a gift of the notebook, the blue TARDIS notebook, on the big day? Just like how the Doctor just wrapped up and gifted the notebook, right? A pristine, brand new TARDIS blue notebook to River Song, who is going to be amazing, right? According to him. Now, you know, speaking of River Song, I love how it's almost poetic, right? I mean, it is flipped. You know, you see the flip side here, don't you? You know, at this point, she has no idea who the Doctor is, but the Doctor knows all about River Song, right? Back around the first time I get to see River Song, it's flipped, right? She knows everything there is to know about the Doctor, but Tennant, you know, that Doctor had no idea who River Song is. And, you know, same kind of thing happens here as well. In this one, the Doctor dies, though, of course, you know, she gives up her remaining regenerations, or all of it together, essentially, to bring the Doctor back to life. To resurrect the Doctor, essentially, because he does die. And of course, if you go back to that first two-parter, by the end of it, River Song ends up dying, right? In front of the Doctor. So it's flipped. Though here, you know, she kind of saves him again, right? Though, of course, the Doctor does kind of manipulate River Song, doesn't he? Into kind of saving him. And then, you know, you see, as he stands in that corner in the hospital room, you know, rule number 1, the Doctor lies. And you see the look in his face as well. You know, his regeneration was disabled, right? So was that because of the Judas kiss, right? And again, you know, Judas kiss, yeah, you know, adequately titled, of course. Or was it some other reason it was disabled, right? It almost kind of felt like a mechanical thing, you know, that he cannot tap into it. So he must have known that he is going to die unless he's able to get her regeneration energy, right? Unless she's able to kind of give him that. So yeah, you know, so he kind of had to manipulate her a bit. But, you know, that scene, the regeneration, or her giving her energy, her remaining regenerations, or all of that energy to the Doctor. Wow, incredible moment. I thought it was an incredible moment, incredible scene. Of course, the score, Murray Gold's incredible score, the imagery that's on screen, right? The first, hello, sweetie, right? And that kiss. And of course, you know, them being surrounded by the enchanting regeneration energy, right? That was just beautiful. I thought it was a beautiful scene. But leading up to that, Matt Smith, wow. You know, I go on and on about him almost every episode, but again, you know, he is such a star. He is so fantastic in this. He really is. You know, I was quite choked up seeing him so desperate in those moments, right? Some of the imagery, right? Wow, you know, him crawling up the stairs trying to get to the TARDIS, pleading with Melody Pond, you know, of course he's still referring to her as River. Wow, please help me, you know, please save Amy and Rory. He sold those moments. He really sold those moments. You really feel like this man is in immense pain, right? But he's also trying to mask that pain, right? Put up a front, right? You feel the layered performance there, right? Matt Smith, man, I've got to say, you know, House of the Dragon is it's coming up, and one of the reasons I'm so excited about that, beyond the Game of Thrones connection, you know, Game of Thrones was a big thing on my channel, so of course, you know, House of the Dragon was a lock. Yes, you know, I am going to cover that on my channel, but Matt Smith, you know, having Matt Smith in that as Daemon Targaryen, right, who is meant to be quite a fascinating character. Apparently, you know, he's got all the potential to be a fan favorite. So, you know, day one, Matt Smith I'm so incredibly excited to see him in that role, right? It's going to be a fun time for us Matt Smith fans. So it's going to be a fun time seeing him as the Doctor and as Daemon Targaryen. Two totally different types of characters. And the thing is, you know, the audience knows, you know, I know, or I knew that he's not going to die here, right? Yet, it was still so impactful, right? Him in those moments. Yes, the audience might know that he's definitely not going to die here, but he sells it like the Doctor knows he's about to die, right? If this doesn't happen for him, you can buy it, you know, it's believable. But yeah, you know, some of this imagery is going to be stuck in my mind forever. You know, some of those shots of him reaching up to the TARDIS, desperate. You know, him inside the TARDIS. Great moment is I see some of the companions from before. You know, Rose, Martha, sorry, Martha's from Dark. Donna, right? Emilia Pond. Now let's kind of go back to River Song and that switch that happens, right? Yeah. I mean, you know, first of all, the pacing of this episode is ferocious. It is ferocious. It comes at you nonstop. A lot of developments happen. I mean, there's a dramatic shift in character motivations here, right? River Song being the biggest focus of this, because it is quite a major shift. Listen, I could totally see how a lot of people are not going to like that or didn't like that. Of course, it's quite old. The episode aired years ago at this point. And, you know, she spends a lot of this episode not caring one bit for the Doctor, to then essentially giving up her remaining regenerations for the Doctor, right? So there is a dramatic shift there. Now, you know, a lot of it comes down to her actually getting to see the type of person he is, his demeanor. This is, in my opinion, you know, I'm trying to kind of not justify, but kind of read the situation and how it might have transpired, right? The shift that happened there. You see that Melody Pond, before, you know, she kind of has that shift, she is shocked, right? And starts to become quite impressed, and then slowly starts to shift. You know, seeing this man in this state, so desperate to save his friends. But of course, another major component of that is that little conversation they have, right? She pulls in close, he tells her something. As you saw, my initial reaction to that was, is this the moment? Is he telling her his real name, his actual name? You know, that could be a reason she said, I'm sure she already knows that, right? That could be a natural reaction to someone saying, tell her that my real name is this. Or the other thing could be something as simple as tell her I love her, right? That could also get a reply like, I'm sure she knows that, right? So I think it could be one or the other. There's a good chance it could be one of those. But then, of course, subsequently, as the Doctor passes on, you know, and that's crazy. I actually see the Doctor die, right? It doesn't last long, but I actually see him die on screen. So that in itself is quite a major moment, isn't it? And then, of course, you know, another thing that's kind of leading up to that moment is Melody Pond asking about this river, right? Someone that clearly means a lot to this individual, the Doctor, that she was meant to kill, that she was trained for years. And then she sees herself, right? Because that thing, the robot essentially that can transform into people, shows her, right? Because Amy asked it, because she had access. That's River Pond. So she knows, you know, she goes on to become this individual, or she is this individual that has this relationship, right? This close and important relationship that they do go on to love each other, right? So that also plays a part, I believe. I mean, it does play a part, you know, her realizing that. But again, I feel like, yeah, you know, I could totally see how a lot of people might not like that. You know, it does feel sudden because it happens over the span of an episode. And also, you know, this might be River Song at her most unlikable as well, right? Again, it's really early stages. She's not even River Song, right? I feel like that is deliberate, right? That's by design. Though, you know, maybe some of the writing, and I'm speaking of the writing for River Song as a female character, maybe it wasn't the greatest in this episode. I feel like there's a fine balance. And I feel like Moffat kind of tipped over that point a bit, in this episode. You know, you guys know by now that I adore River Song, right? Biggest crush. And even I felt like, okay, you know, Moffat's gone a little bit over the top here. You know, I feel like he could have reeled it back in a bit. And of course, you know, some much needed exposition for the Silents, who are meant to be this religious movement, right? And, you know, their sole belief appears to be that silence will fall once that important question is asked, right? The oldest question, the most important question, apparently, one that's kind of hidden in plain sight, right? So, you know, my initial thought of that is, who is the Doctor? Is that the question they're getting at, right? I mean, you know, you have Matt Smith, or you have the Doctor himself kind of even alluding to something like that, right? I mean, he straight up just said Doctor Who, right? You know, in my mind, it was more so, who is the Doctor? So that's my take on it, you know, hidden in plain sight. Could that be this meta thing as well, right? You have the Doctor himself also saying something like that in the episode, right? Doctor Who, as it pans in on him in his tux. Let's get to some of these other things that are established in this episode. Now, the Doctor knows, right? Lake Silencio. He knows that's a location. He knows the date, the time even, perhaps, right? It was all up there. He got it from their database, right? Though, of course, he already knew that, you know, he dies. Now he just knows the specifics of it, right? Of course, you know, Amy slipped up. She thought she was speaking to Ganger Doctor, right? Dr. Goo, but it was our Doctor, right? The Doctor. So yeah, he knew that, but now he knows specifics. But, you know, he also believes that, you know, having too much foreknowledge is certainly not a good thing. And he believes they do have too much foreknowledge at this moment in time. And they also established that, you know, him dying at Lake Silencio is a fixed moment in time, right? But also, you know, I've kind of held the belief, I've maintained that he doesn't actually die over there, right? Of course he doesn't, because the show goes on. You know, Capaldi's Doctor has to come in. Then Jodie's Doctor has to come in. So of course something is going to happen there. Yet she does kill him, right? So of course there's something really interesting cooking up here. And as I got closer to this finale, perhaps, or maybe it builds up over 4 or 3 episodes, who knows? You know, I'm sure I'll get quite a fascinating reveal for all of that. But yeah, you know, it's a fixed moment in time. So it is going to happen, right? It is going to happen. But let's see how it plays out, right? That's the interesting part of this, how it all plays out, how it's pulled off, essentially. So let's see. And also, you know, I learned how River Song kind of learns to drive the TARDIS or fly the TARDIS. It is through the TARDIS herself. As she mentioned, I learned from the best, right? And the Doctor was busy, according to her. So the best is certainly the TARDIS herself, right? Now, let me actually kind of, you know, focus on the title of the episode and the premise that is kind of almost promised just really early on in the episode. Listen, do I think this episode could have been a totally different type of setting, right? Staged in a totally different type of setting? Yeah, it could have been. It really could have been, you know. It being staged at that specific point in time, right? You could even argue it's a little bit bizarre. It is. Though, you know, earlier in the beginning of my discussion, I mentioned that, yeah, you know, if you look at it from some other people's perspective, you know, you could kind of see the Doctor. They might see the Doctor as this genocidal maniac. I thought it's actually going to explore that age-old question, right? I believe I even kind of brought this up in that Churchill episode in Series 5, really early on, right? Then here I saw the title, right? And the setup, I thought, oh, okay, they're going to tackle it, you know, it became really clear really soon that no, it's not really tackling that. The doctor accidentally ends up saving him. How about that, right? The impact that might have on the doctor, the consequences of that, right? That's a major thing, right? Something that has to be kind of on your mind from that point on, right? That he accidentally saved him. But yeah, I think that's about it for this one, folks. I think I'll have to wrap it up here. I feel like it's a bit of a hit and miss, right? It's got some fantastic ideas and some ideas that are not so fantastic, that don't quite land, in my opinion at least. But the one thing I maintain here is that, you know, River's song remains one of my favorites of the entire show. I am still so incredibly excited for her story from this point on, her and the doctor, and, you know, her and Amy and Rory. You know, I hope there's more moments together, because here, you know, a lot of times I feel like Amy and Rory didn't really have much of an attachment to her, though of course that is also kind of realistic. You know, it is jarring for them. You know, and you see that earlier on, you know, them trying to come to terms with the idea, the notion that this individual who's kind of calling herself a psychopath, who believes herself to be a psychopath, is their daughter, right? And she's trying to kill one of their closest friends, their dearest friends, right? And she was successful, though of course, you know, yes, ultimately she does end up saving him as well. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about River's song from this point on, for sure. Of course, always excited about more Alex Kingston. Yeah, you know, you see that she knows, right? River Song knows that she's attractive, that she has an incredible figure, right? She even comments on it, right? It really leans into it. It leans into it in this one, doesn't it? If you enjoyed this, consider dropping a like. If you have comments, if you have thoughts, certainly share those thoughts for this episode. You know, it's an interesting one. I can just tell that it might be a bit of a divisive one, right? All the elements of that are there. I could see them. So yeah, certainly give me your thoughts on the matter on this episode. You know, if you're interested in full length or perhaps even early access to the next episode right now, consider checking out the Patreon page. The link is in the description or the pinned comment. Also, social media, if you're into Instagram or Twitter. Right then, thank you for joining me, and thank you for your time, as time is precious. And I do hope to see you again soon for the next one. Until then, take it easy.